Welcome to the Coach's Decision.
Welcome back to a special edition of Coach's Decision. You know, what we try to do here is find a common ground and illuminate or highlight some of the things that people may go through or may experience from a personal perspective of an individual that's willing to be vulnerable and tell their story. So hopefully there's a lesson to be derived from this conversation, but I know that you will at least learn something and at most enjoy what you hear today. What do you say to women who see a marriage? So let me give you an example, a story, and then I'll ask you the question. There's a guy, he has a wife, he has a girlfriend, and him and his wife have a good life, an established situation, good money, good house, whatever. She's waitress at Denny's, doesn't matter where she works, right? So she sees what he has and is superimposing that life that she could come and absorb. She could be her. She could replace that woman in her mind. She doesn't realize this is a joint account, joint income, blah, blah. She don't know how the money works. So she's thinking, I could then replace her. Should women think that whatever is going on in his life, they could just step in and get all of that too? If they could just win him over? Is that a silly kind of childish thought process?
Yeah, it's not going to happen. It won't happen.
Okay.
It won't happen because, they're not going to be able first of all, in the scenario that you just said to me, they have too much invested together, right? So a lot of them, like I said, this was, again, from the last one too, one of my friends, ex-friends, this was her situation. He was never going to leave her, and he's still with her because he's invested in the whole business that they have together in the money situation. So he's not leaving her for you. It just won't happen.
Okay.
It won't ever happen.
Okay. In that same situation, you can't then be caught doing anything because then he gets upset because you was his, even though he was y'all's, right?
Right.
So how does this play out where you're not giving up your good years, giving attention and time and everything to somebody who is already taken? Or do you not see a married man as already taken?
Well, for me, with the last dude that I was seeing, like I said, it started out where I did not think it would progress to 7-year relationship, but that's how long I was with him, over 7 years.
Okay, wow.
And so I did not think it would be that long of a situation, but it happened to be. And even when I cut ties with him, I didn't see him for like 8 months, and he contacted me again to come back.
Okay.
So, and then I actually came back and entertained him again but again, it's the same situation. He's the same individual that he's always been. He's very, very selfish. And then, so we're totally done now. But this was just recently that it ended. But he came back. But now, do
you feel like women who allow for themselves to be engaged or involved with somebody that's with someone else like that, do you feel like they're stronger or more fractured than a normal woman?
They could probably be a little bit of both, honestly. It really just depends. It really just depends,
Okay. And have you seen both? Have you seen a chick that just couldn't get right because she was allowing for this person to take her good years and kind of drag her through emotionally, the roller coaster? Because guys, just like women, will say, I'm going to leave them. And let me ask you this. In both instances, did these guys talk bad or disparagingly about their spouses to you? Like, she just don't know how to treat me. She just ain't this. And I just wish that I had known before I married her, and now I've come too far. So men generally who are married talk bad about their wives?
Yeah, the first one, again, because he would never admit that he was married, he never spoke nothing about the woman.
Okay.
So the second one, he literally just said that she was just
business transaction.
He said he was pressured to marry her by everybody, his family, her family.
Okay.
He didn't really love her.
Okay.
He just literally said a lot of things about her, but he was like, she's not a bad person, but I don't love her. And just things like that. So he kind of made you think that she was just a bad kind of person. And but as I got to know her and see, because I met her and saw her a lot, I was like, there's nothing wrong with this woman at all. She wasn't fat. She wasn't ugly. She was in good shape. There was absolutely nothing. Well, now we were like day and night though, because she was a darker woman and I'm a lighter woman. And she told me, he usually only likes light women. So that's why I think right away she was already like, she kind of.
Right.
Right. because of my.
So is it more common that a dude is going to holler at you that's got somebody and talk bad about her? Let's just say, because they're not the only married men that tried to talk to you. But when you
Right. I
entertain,
still get them in my inbox. I still get them, but I'm
how do
not
you get to the
entertaining that
point?
anymore.
But when that was something that did entertain, would it always get to the point where they would quickly talk about how, well, I'm only married on paper, or they would say something like she's this or that, or she's not you? Is it always a situation where men try to put the woman against the other woman or make them
They do.
rivals or competitors or whatever the case may be? Is that the play most times?
They do. They do. That's the play.
Is there ever a situation where you can recall a guy saying, no, I'm kind of like you. You meet a maybe your twin brother, right? Look, I'm happily married. I just be horny a lot. And when I see something and smell something, I got to go get it. But I'm not leaving her. I'm not doing anything different. You going to be the extra in this movie. Is there ever a situation where you could imagine that happening?
Yeah.
And would that work? Or why wouldn't that work? Should all men do that? Let me
Oh,
ask you this. Should all men do that? Or do some women want the intrigue of being the secret chick where we're together, but they don't know, and we got to go to the back of the restaurant and everything got to be DoorDash because we can't be seen out together? Is there a
yeah.
level of excitement to that to women?
There probably is, but I think that most women and pretty much anybody would like you to be honest with them from the jump, and then that's ultimately that person's decision if they're going to entertain you or not. But at least you've been honest with them at front, because some people like you to be honest with them, but they may have already just had the initial traction or were curious about you, but you gave them the opportunity, and they still may not go anywhere. They still might just take the opportunity anyway.
I think that in my experience listening to some of these things, some women like to feel entrapped. So therefore, like your first instance, okay, you have two great instances. In your first instance, you come off as a sympathetic figure because this guy pursued you and woo you and wore you down and you didn't know. And so therefore your emotions got caught up. You got caught up in the rapture of love and Anita Baker's plan and all this other stuff. He bringing you flowers. He doing all this other stuff. He's there all the time and everything.
I
And then
think it
by the
was his
time,
accent. I think it got me.
okay, so by the time you realize something is afoot, your emotions are into it. It's too late. And now you're a victim of his predatory behavior. Whereas in the second instance, you were absolutely the predator. Like you put
Right.
on the mask, you got out the spaceship, and you hunted the villagers, right? So,
But I already knew from the initial contact that it was
right,
I had him. So it was
exactly,
nothing that. But yeah.
exactly.
But yeah, the first guy, I think I was the victim because
But
when
more
I
women want
finally
that. More women want that testimony so they can absolve themselves of saying, although I did something bad, it was beyond my control because I was trapped or I was coerced into this because by the time blah, blah, blah. Whereas if I go in knowing, if I give you, I'm married, I meet you and I tell you, hello, my name is Coach Crispy Reed and I'm married. You no longer have that testimony. You no longer can
Right.
say, before I knew it, I was all swimming in, say I fell and no, you laid down. You didn't fall. You laid down. So I
Right.
think that most women like the first story that you have if
Right.
they're going to do it because then it gives
Right.
them something that they can tell their aunties and girlfriends. Well, girl, I just can't shake him because and by the time I found out it was too late and he had a drawer in my house and a toothbrush and this that. Whereas the second
He
time
did. By the
you
time I found out, he already had a key. I gave him a key. He had clothes over here,
right,
everything. But
right.
I mean, and the reason that I found that out is I was driving his car one day.
Okay. Oh, that's so
I drove.
dangerous. It's so dangerous
Well,
though.
he let me drive the car. So I
Yes.
drove the car and I'm over here in the big body Benz and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, whatever. But so opened up the glove. I opened up the glove box and then I looked in there, I saw the insurance card and it's got her whole name on it, his name,
Oh,
got her
wow.
I
Golly.
seen the address and I'm
Okay.
like, I'm Googling the stuff, looking it
Okay.
up. Yes.
Okay. So it wasn't a situation where somebody, because I've had situations like this
Mm-mm.
where I'm from. Somebody seen the other person in the whip, or somebody
Mm-mm.
confronted the other person for being there. I can tell you
No.
this. I know a young lady, and she has this testimony. She goes into a American Bar and Grill, and she sees
Mm-hmm.
the guy that she knows him and his wife a lot, really well. She sees him in there eating with the girlfriend.
Oh hell.
And
Yeah.
his face light up and whatever. And so she goes and sits wherever she's sitting. When he comes to her table, she was like, don't worry. This ain't got nothing to do with me. If you get caught, it won't be because I said something. You know what I mean? But people take these chances and they do things. I think sometimes it's a self-sabotage type of situation where you really don't want to be with her. You don't have the guts to just tell her like you told dude, hey, I'm done. So you do things that kind of interfere with the natural course of things. You know what I mean? Great example in your marriage. Things weren't going great, and he couldn't get the guts to say this. He was acting out. He was acting depressed. He was tripping or whatever. And instead of him saying, hey, I need to go see somebody about this, a priest or a therapist, he was lashing out at you. You was trying to figure out how to make it right. Then he was like, okay, I'm going to keep sabotaging this and make her leave me. I've heard somebody say, I'm not going to divorce her, but if she divorces me because of all this stuff I'm doing, then that's on her. And women file for divorce more than men because a lot of women don't think like you and say, I don't mind the cheating. I don't mind this. Because ultimately what happens is you start doing the math and realizing it's expensive to have two girlfriends. It's expensive to wine and dine and keep the attentions of two solid women. That shit is very, very expensive. So you start doing the math and say, hold up, I'm getting, money that I would get when he dies or retires is starting to get sent off to this chick in a small fashion. And unfortunately, that's just the way it is. We talked about this, we'll come to a close, but we talked about the websites. And I know you were saying you're not an internet person. Kendra was saying that there's websites called the Tees or something else where you can go
I've heard
and
it.
research.
The T app or something like that.
Yeah, you can research. But let me ask you this. Do you believe that as many women are looking on those sites to identify the bad guys, there are a set of women that are looking on those sites to identify the bad guys? Let me tell you the reason why I say that. When I was young, my cousin Junior, shout out Junior if you listen to this. Junior was like, the reason why you're not getting the hoes is because you're too much of a good guy. Hoes want a bad guy. Hoes want, and then I was like, well, I don't want the hoes though. So it's okay. My question is, they do have this thing where the stereotype of women wanting a bad guy or a shady figure or a hood figure or whatever is exciting or alluring. Do you grow out of that as a woman? Or is that something that women just always have a little bit of, I like a bad boy, I like a man in uniform type thing that just never goes away?
I mean, I think it really just depends on the woman. I really don't care if they're a bad guy.
Oh, okay. Well, that means it's okay. Some women don't want they don't want that near them.
I
They
mean,
want to
what I'm
distance
saying is I'm not just wanting a bad guy. That's not all I'm looking for. I don't know.
Okay.
I'd rather have a decent kind of guy at this point. But
are there, this is why I enjoy speaking with you. Are there decent kind of guys out there? Yes, no. What came to your head?
I'm pretty sure there is.
Just not with hair and muscles.
Probably not.
Okay.
Probably not. They're probably the fat, bald-headed man that I would not entertain.
Okay. So your type of guy happens to more than likely be a bad guy or a questionable guy. We ain't gonna call him a bad guy, a questionable guy.
Yeah, because I think the ones that are very, very attractive, they know they can get a lot of women. So like they know what they can get. But I mean, but I'm pretty sure that some of them that are built really nice like that, they may be good guys. So, but I haven't personally myself encountered one that way.
Okay.
But they're probably out there. But like I said, since I've been divorced, I have dated these two married men the majority of the time that I've been divorced. So I haven't really just had a whole bunch of like dudes out there because I've been with both. I was with both of those guys for a very long time.
Do you feel like subconsciously that was a safe move for you? Because when you give your heart to somebody and you give your youth and your energy and true love or young love, and then it gets shit on, you have to protect yourself at that point, right? You get in protection mode. And so in order to protect yourself, some women do long distance relationships to protect themselves. Some women obviously do men that are inaccessible to have a little bit of something. Like I got somebody if I need it. You don't have a wedding date. Sometimes you do, depending on how big the city is. But the moral of the story is, how do you grow from, because now you said, and we talked about this before it airs, so I hope I'm not saying this inappropriately. You said you're done with married men. You said that you've retired that. What are you going to do now? Because now you have to marry these dudes that fall in love with you.
Well, I don't necessarily think that I have to be married again, but I'm hoping that the next person that I entertain, like seriously in dating, is actually a single individual that is not married. So,
but you've given a disclaimer. You've given a disclaimer that they're going to be head over heels. So they're going to be buying rings and things to bring them out. You know what I'm saying? So in the
Mhm.
idea of don't set yourself up to be a heartbreaker for the rest of your life, Jessica, because you can't
I'm
help it.
not.
You
I'm
are.
not.
If you're saying, hey, you gonna fall in love with me, but I'm gonna entertain you for my own devices, but I don't want you to take it this far, they can't help but to take it that far. And they're a good guy, they're a single guy, and then you're gonna end up giving them a Dear John letter because you never saw yourself as being available and married again. And this is why you were
Well,
attracting unavailable men.
I had a very good conversation with a really good friend of mine that happens to be male.
Okay.
And he asked me these questions.
Mhm.
He's never been married. He would like to be married. It's kind of the same thing with me. And I told him, I wouldn't necessarily be opposed to it, but it's just
Okay.
like not my number one goal. Like I
Okay.
know some people date and their number one goal out of dating is to be married. But I mean, it's not my personal number one goal, but I wouldn't be opposed to it. If I felt later on down the line, my life that it happened, I would, and if I felt that I love the person, I may say yes.
Okay. Let me ask you this with the second guy, and we can this is a good lesson for women who are listening.
Right.
If it's a situation where you told him, the second guy, I don't want to replace her, I don't want to marry you, I just want to keep sleeping with you and you feeding me, would that have ran him off or would that have calmed him down in your interpretation?
Well, with him, because what
Yeah.
I know about him, like I
Yeah.
said, I've known him probably like almost 8 years now, but I don't think that would have been a factor for him at all.
So he would have been okay. See, the reason why I may disagree is because when you kept it as a transactional relationship and there was the opportunity for other people to come and grasp your attention, he had a tantrum. Usually, if it's a transaction, if I'm selling drugs to you,
Right.
you don't care who else I'm selling drugs to, right?
Right. But I
You
mean,
don't
for
need me to
him,
just buy from you, right?
but he tried to portray himself that he wasn't like a jealous individual, but he was. Like, I mean,
Absolutely.
we could be out on a date and then he would be like, why are you looking at that man? Like, I was like,
Absolutely.
what? Like the dude is
Yeah.
walking by. Like, what? I mean, you want me to have my eyes closed or something? Like, I'm here with you. Like, I mean, but he would ask me stuff like typically a woman does.
Yeah.
Like, they'll
Yeah.
get upset if a man is looking at a woman walking by.
Yeah.
Like, that was him.
Yeah.
I was like, and then he would get mad, like, why are you walking behind me? You're supposed to walk in front of me. And I was like, I'm walking behind you because we're in the grocery store and you're pushing the basket. So I
Right.
don't want to be in front of you
You
because I
kicking
don't
my
know if you can
heels,
stop
right?
here.
Right.
Right. So I was like, I have to be behind
Right.
you because I can't be
Right.
beside you because people are coming down the other aisle. Like, make it make
Right.
sense.
Right.
But he would say, like, you're behind me because you're looking at all these men. Like, are
Right.
you for real?
Right. Right.
But yeah, like I said, he became obsessed with me. And I mean, it's typical behavior. So
Right.
I wasn't worried about that.
Is it so how do you go about how would a woman that's built regular? So you're built special, you're built different. But there's a woman that's built regular and she thinks that she has the stomach or the ability to navigate these waters for 6 years, 7 years. Tell her why she's wrong.
Well, I mean, it all depends, like I said, on the woman, but a woman has to understand how much power they possess. And a lot of women don't understand how much power that you ultimately possess. So there's going to be the weaker women, there's going to be the more emotional women, and that's not what I am. So, but most women, like most men will say, are very emotional creatures, and a lot of them are. But it's just going to be a matter of what you can take. And most are not going to be able to take because they're going to fall head in love with these people. And that's where you get the people busting windows, stalking people, threatening to fight the woman. That's all because of your emotions have become involved. You become invested. And so you want to be the winner. And more than likely, you're not going to be the winner because they're not going to leave their wife because a lot of times they have too much to lose from it.
Okay.
So they won't do it.
Okay. Should you, if you're the other woman, should you press the dissolution? For them to dissolve their marriage so you can then take that spot. Let me tell you a story. We have a lady that's a co-host on the show, and she was telling us a story, and it was a situation. The scenario was basically this: there was a chick, she was with a married man and started having kids by him. On the
Very
third
bad.
kid, he was tripping, and so she ended up taking him to court for child support. The court
Right.
ordered paternity, and then his wife, of course, found out about the paternity test. He said the babies
Right.
weren't his. The test and the DNA and the science said that they were. Well, once the test came out and they were his and he was ordered to pay child support, the wife divorced him. So he's now
As
available. He's now available 3 kids later. But now this woman that has had 3 kids with this married man don't want him. Now she don't want him because he was denying her kids and this and that.
right.
So he gained nothing here. You know, that he gained some
Exactly.
illegit in the idea of when you sign up for these, stupid games have stupid prizes. When you sign up for this as a woman, you're telling me there is no best case scenario. Even with
No.
Jane, she got him by him stabbing you in the back, messing around. And you're like, congratulations,
Well,
you got a
he
loser. You know what I mean?
he claims he was never dating her when we were married. So, but
Okay.
at the end of the day, I don't really care about any of that. I told him,
Okay.
like, I'm not married to you.
Right.
All of this is not my problem or my concern. It's
Right.
got nothing to do with me. I don't care.
Right. But do you think that she feels, because I'm big at giving someone a transition period. I'm big at giving somebody a chance to find themselves. Let's say if I talk to a woman and she just broke up with her guy a month ago, I got to give her time, let that marinate. Because I don't know the severity I don't know if he's crazy enough to keep coming around and lurking. We used to live across from a woman who had divorced her husband. This is a tip for women here, if you can pull it off. She had divorced her husband, and he was somewhat possessive. She had a son, and he had some bread, and so she ended up buying a house, across the street from us on the golf course. And she was cool enough, but she ended up dating a police officer. And she dated the police officer long enough to where the husband couldn't just come over acting crazy, being whatever disrespectful and all this other stuff, because dude was over there a lot. The police cruiser was sitting in the driveway quite a bit. And she dated that guy for, I think, 8 or 9 months, and then they broke up. Because now the husband has had time to heal and move on, and she then left him, type of situation. It's sad that women have to go through all these antics and things like that, even if, and I don't know this for a fact, but even if the husband cheated on her, but then just didn't want to lose her or lose his lifestyle that he had with her. I think that you're saying that women take responsibility in this. I think that you're saying women have power and they have to, but if you exercise power, you can't simultaneously be the victim. And you portrayed two roles in this story.
I don't really think in the first one I was the victim, but you classified it as that because I didn't know. But I asked
that's what
him
victims are. Yes.
Right. But
now,
you
might didn't push it. You might didn't you didn't set up a sting and investigate and have a private
I'm not gonna do it. I'm never gonna do that.
Yeah. But
I was very intrigued by him because of the fact that he was a nasty individual and I liked it. And that's why I didn't let him go for all the time. I didn't really care because he was very nasty and I liked it. So, yeah.
So, okay. Well, do you think that your next guy will be a bad guy? Is it 50-50 chance we talk 60-40, 70-30? I mean, because it seems like you just haven't outgrown that. Do you think you'll ever outgrow that bad guy mystique?
I mean, I can't help it that these people are bad people.
Really? No, you can't, but you can help choosing you being with bad people. Like, no, you can't help serial killers, but damn it, you don't have to write them as pen pals in prison.
Right, I never do that. I would probably say he would probably have some bad boy tendencies. I'm pretty sure of it.
Where do you think that came from? Before we close out, where do you think you being attracted to a bad guy? Because your dad seems to be a good guy.
Yeah, my dad was a great guy. Bless his heart.
Okay, there we go.
He's a sweet dad. Bless him.
Okay.
But I don't know. I just think that I don't know. I think a lot of times when I discuss things like I don't know. I think my mother, she always told me, that this might not even go with it, but she just always told me I was too pretty to ever. Well, she told me I was too pretty to ever be just stuck with one dude. She did tell me that.
Okay.
I don't know how that plays in any of this, but I don't know. I just know what I like, and so like if I see a guy that I'm attracted to, then I'm gonna go with that, and hopefully it's a decent kind of thing, So,
but you don't come off as an impulsive person. You don't come off as a spree shopper or like you said, Ross. You get your candles at Ross. You seem to be pretty practical.
I love it.
Why in love? Why in love are you not practical, Jessica?
Because I think that I just don't. I think that I just can't. I just really fully. I try not to invest too much of my heart with people, even though. Like I said, I was involved with these people for a long time, but I don't care like if I'm married to them or whatever. I really don't anymore. I've already been married before. So I think that it plays a huge factor because I've already been married before. So it's just like, I don't know if I can fully invest my whole time into doing that again. So I think that I'm very cautious of that. And then another thing though, because when I say like my mother, I was raised with my aunt because my mother died when I was young. And I think like I've always had the like a part of me always missing, obviously, but I just always never wanted to fully try to attach myself too much to people because I already know that people can leave you in an instant. And so I've always had that, I think that guard. Just naturally. So I think that has played a little bit of factor in some of my decision making.
Absolutely. And I'll say this is that from an athlete's perspective, the one way that you approach the game is that you prepare You go out there and you perform, and sometimes you just lose. But what you want to always feel like is, I know that I did everything I could for us to win. We just lost. Sometimes with men and women, we tend to guard or hold things back. And then when they don't work, the last thing you want to believe is, if I had a gave him 98% instead of 82%, could this had had a different outcome? Was there a threshold to where there was going to be success at 91%? And I never gave myself the chance to go by as 88. I never gave myself. So my thing is, if you really want it, go balls to the wall and don't be afraid to be crazy in love or a fool for love or whatever the case may be, because then you do have that testimony of, I did my part. I did what I was supposed to do. I asked all the questions. I tried. It just wasn't going to happen because of his part, not because of my part, because somebody's going to embrace that try. Somebody's going to love that try because they didn't get it from the previous relationships or the previous person. Although you said that you would not date a married man again, can you explain as we close, why not? Like, why not? Like, all of your personality, all of your like real nonchalant, it is what it is. It says that this is what you're not bad at it. So why would you retire this jersey when you know, still on the All-Star team?
Well, I'd rather not have to deal with someone that's married anymore. I'd rather just have just a regular single guy that and just go from there, because I think that you're starting off and just we're both at an even playing field at that point. So I
Okay.
don't want to complicating things anymore. And then at the end of the day, what I learned from the second one is that, I felt like, I did a lot of wrong. That was a wrong move for me. And, I think that I generally, hurt this woman, the
Okay.
wife.
Okay.
And I feel like I played a part in that. And I
Okay.
just don't want to be involved with bringing any kind of pain or drama onto someone else like that. Now, if a dude is dating other people, that has nothing to do with me, but
Right.
I'm not going to be that person anymore. So I just don't want to be involved with that.
Is it worse for a married woman to mess around or a married man to mess around?
That would probably worse.
Yeah.
I would probably say they're probably equal, because either way, either one is wrong, I guess, at the end of the day.
Okay. Okay. So let me ask you this though. If you were married again, could you see
Hmm.
yourself messing around with someone on your husband?
No,
You said
no,
that really quickly. You said that really
because
quickly.
yeah, because I didn't do that. Like I said, I didn't do that in the marriage that I had. I never
I
did
agree.
that. When
I
I went
agree.
out there, I let him know that I was not happy and I was going out there. So I
Yeah.
pre-warned you. So I
Right.
never was a cheater when I was married. So like when I married, I took those vows very seriously for me, and so I was never going to be a cheater ever in
Gotcha.
that.
How do you distinguish between you being absolutely sure that you're not going to be on that side of adultery, but on the other side of adultery, you like, hey, I'm not the married one. I didn't take no vows. How do
Well,
you
yeah, because
reconcile those two?
well, that's what I'm saying, because like for the other two that I was with, I was not married. I was
Right.
a single person.
Right.
So feel like in my mindset, I could do whatever I wanted to do.
Okay.
But as I stated, when you asked the question, would I date another married guy? No, I
Yeah.
wouldn't, because of the fact that there's a point in your life where you learn things.
That's what I'm
So I've
talking about.
learned a lot from
Yeah.
it. So I learned the behavior that I was doing was not right. So
Right.
in order to, you got to be accountable for what you've done, your
Right.
actions, and you've got to improve those actions and not do those same behaviors again. And so that's why I'm very confident that I would never date another married man.
Okay.
Because I've learned from what I've done,
Mhm.
grown from that. Like I said, you have to be accountable for yourself.
Yeah.
And that's how you grow as an adult. And that's how you learn it at any level. You have to be responsible for what you've done.
I appreciate that, Jessica. I'm sure that this is something that people will appreciate hearing. My mom used to always say, it's never too late to do the right thing. I know a lot of people are thinking, wait a second, it took her 6 years and 5 years and this, that. It's never too late to do the right thing when it's on your spirit. You got to do what's good for you. And she figured out what was good for her and was willing to come and give a little bit of game. I learned a little bit about some of the approach. And then obviously these were actual relationships. These weren't trysts. These weren't like fly by night type situations. And I'm very interested and very excited that both of them came in two different approaches. One where you seem to be the semi-aggressor, and one where you seem to be pursued or preyed upon by someone. Not that he was a villain, but it's just two different flips of the coin. Ironically, they came after your marriage when you were young. And then there's other things, obviously, as far as you getting close to people. But in the idea of that distance, you'll know when it's right. You'll know what's for you. And that's the thing you keep saying over and over again is, I know what I want. I know what I'm attracted to. I know what's good for me. At some point in time, true love, marriage, head over heels, soulmating may be in the cards for you. And so have that same energy when it shows up to be like, but I don't want you to all of a sudden get scary. Like you brave as hell on all this other shit. But then all of a sudden, when the true love show up, you like, I don't know if that's for me. No, if you got it, you got it. You know what I mean?
I ain't never scared.
You
So
don't.
I
Okay,
ain't never
there it
scared.
is. There it is. So, all right, cool. Well, I appreciate that so much. Thank you, audience. Thank you, Jessica, especially for tuning in. We appreciate these opportunities to come in and give you a little bit of game. Make sure that you tune in to future episodes, which absolutely bring Jessica and her wisdom back on something in some capacity. But until then, make sure that you take it easy or take it any way that you can get it. He hit it all. Okay. So how did you shake him ultimately, the first guy?
What was this woman she called me. She was in my inbox. Well, she was in my inbox. And she was like, do you know da-da-da-da-da? And I was like, yeah. And then she just started asking me how. She's like, I see that he's always calling you. I said, yeah. And do you see who calls who? Him. And then I was like, yeah, he's over at my house like almost every night. And she was like, I've been dating him for a year. I said, oh, really? I said, congratulations. And I literally told her, please, like, I don't want him anymore. I've been trying to tell him I have a whole new dude, but he won't leave me alone. And then so that's how it happened, you know? And then he calls me.
So
Huh?
No, I was like, you kind of invented the T app. Like you gave all dude game. Like you would tell her, Jessica. You would tell on him. You like,
no, because she was asking me all these questions. She asked me all these questions, and at that point, you have to understand, I didn't want him anyway. I was already with the second guy. Like, I didn't want him no more bothering me. He would just show up at my house.
Do you understand how this works? Have you seen First 48?
I used to like watching the show.
They don't walk in there and tell. They tell because they asking them all these questions.
Right.
That's how they start snitching.
Man,
you are a snitch.
You are a snitch, Jessica.
You can embrace it. You can embrace it. But that's snitching.
You're like, if she asks, you said on the last woman, if she asked me 2 questions, like I'll ride out with him for 1 question. But if she asks another question, I would tell it all. You said you had receipts and everything.
I was prepared to send her video evidence, text evidence, whatever she wanted to know. I could have sent her pictures, baby. What did you want to know? I could have sent her everything.
You would have got off with probation.
Yeah, they would have. Yeah, you would have got
no time. You would have got off with just probation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and a Happy Meal, Burger King, whatever you wanted.
Right.